If you've been struggling with sudden hot flashes, unexplained anxiety, or that racing heartbeat that seems to come out of nowhere, you might want to look at what's sitting on your kitchen counter right now. Your morning coffee could be the invisible culprit, sabotaging your sense of calm and triggering those uncomfortable temperature spikes. I'm going to walk you through exactly how caffeine affects your body and why it might be hitting you harder than it used to. So if you're dealing with these frustrating symptoms, please subscribe to this channel for more wellness insights that actually make a difference in your daily life. Let's start with the basics. Caffeine is a stimulant, which means it's designed to activate your nervous system. When you drink coffee, the caffeine doesn't just make you more alert. It's actually triggering a cascade of chemical reactions throughout your entire body. The caffeine molecules cross the blood-brain barrier and bind to adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that naturally signals your body that it's tired and needs rest. When caffeine blocks adenosine, it removes that signal, making you feel more awake and energized. But there's more happening beneath the surface. Your body also releases adrenaline, the same hormone that kicks in during your fight-or-flight response. This is why you might feel that sudden jolt of energy after your first sip. Adrenaline increases your heart rate, sharpens your focus, and prepares your muscles for action. It's actually the same physiological response your body has to a perceived threat. So when you're sipping that morning latte, your nervous system is being triggered, almost as if you're facing something stressful. Over time, this constant stimulation can wear down your ability to stay calm and can absolutely amplify anxiety symptoms. Now let's talk specifically about hot flashes. If you're a woman in midlife or experiencing hormonal changes, you're likely already dealing with fluctuating estrogen levels. Estrogen plays a crucial role in temperature regulation. When estrogen drops, your body's thermostat becomes increasingly sensitive and unpredictable. Add caffeine to that equation, and you've got a perfect storm. Caffeine causes your blood vessels to constrict and then dilate, which creates that uncomfortable flushing sensation. Your core body temperature can spike rapidly, and your sweat glands become overactive. What might have been a mild, manageable hot flash without caffeine can become intense and disruptive when you're also stimulating your nervous system with a strong cup of coffee. The timing matters too. Most people don't realize that caffeine stays in your system much longer than they think. If you have a cup of coffee at 7 in the morning, half of that caffeine is still in your body at 1 in the afternoon. For some people, especially those who are sensitive to stimulants, that caffeine can be circulating in your bloodstream for 12 hours or more. This means that hot flashes and anxiety that hit you in the afternoon or evening might actually be partly caused by that morning coffee you forgot all about. If you like the content so far and these wellness connections are resonating with you, please hit the like button. It helps me continue creating videos that tackle these real health challenges. There's also a direct connection between caffeine consumption and anxiety that goes beyond just the adrenaline surge. Caffeine can increase your cortisol levels, which is your body's stress hormone. When your cortisol is elevated, you're more prone to anxious thoughts, racing mind, and that sense of dread that seems to come out of nowhere. People often describe it as feeling like something bad is about to happen, even when nothing is wrong. They might feel their chest tightening, their stomach becoming unsettled, or their mind spinning through worst-case scenarios. This isn't just anxiety that you can think your way out of. It's a physiological response to the stimulation that caffeine is creating in your body. Caffeine also affects your sleep, and poor sleep is a major trigger for both hot flashes and anxiety. When you drink coffee even 6 hours before bed, it can impair your sleep quality significantly. Your brain might not register that you're not getting deep, restorative rest, so you feel like you slept fine, but your body knows the difference. When you don't get enough deep sleep, your hormones become unbalanced, your stress tolerance drops dramatically, and your temperature regulation goes haywire. You might find yourself tossing and turning at night, waking up drenched in sweat, and then wondering why you're so anxious throughout the next day. It's a vicious cycle where the caffeine that you thought was helping you actually becomes the thing that's stealing your peace. Some people are genetically more sensitive to caffeine than others. This is determined by how quickly your liver metabolizes caffeine, which is controlled by specific genes. Some people are slow metabolizers, meaning they process caffeine very slowly and it stays in their system much longer. If you've always felt like caffeine hits you harder than it seems to affect other people, you might be a slow metabolizer. For these individuals, even small amounts of caffeine can trigger significant anxiety and hot flashes. If you're a fast metabolizer, you might feel more comfortable with a cup of coffee, while someone else drinks the same coffee and has a completely different experience. Age is another crucial factor. As you get older, your body's ability to metabolize caffeine decreases. A cup of coffee that you could drink freely in your 20s might become problematic in your 40s or 50s. Your liver function naturally declines with age, your hormones shift, and your nervous system becomes more sensitive to stimulation. This is why you might notice that caffeine affects you differently than it used to. You're not being dramatic or oversensitive. Your body has actually changed, and what worked before genuinely doesn't work the same way anymore. Caffeine can also interfere with calcium absorption, which matters more than you might think. Women especially need adequate calcium for bone health and for proper nerve and muscle function. When you consume a lot of caffeine, your body actually loses more calcium through your urine. This calcium deficit can contribute to muscle tension, tremors, and can actually make hot flashes feel more intense. Your nervous system relies on proper calcium levels to function smoothly. So when caffeine is causing you to lose calcium, you're essentially sabotaging your body's ability to regulate temperature and anxiety. Let's talk about what's actually happening to your blood pressure when you drink caffeine. Your blood vessels constrict, which causes your blood pressure to rise temporarily. This increase in blood pressure can trigger flushing and that sensation of heat spreading across your face and chest. If you're already experiencing hot flashes due to hormonal changes, this added blood pressure spike can make them significantly worse. You might step out of an important meeting or a social situation completely flushed and uncomfortable, even though you don't have a fever. The thermometer shows normal, but you feel absolutely overheated. That's often the caffeine and your hormones working together against you. The amount of caffeine in different beverages varies wildly, and a lot of people are completely unaware of how much they're actually consuming. A standard cup of brewed coffee has about 95 milligrams of caffeine. But if you're drinking from one of those large travel mugs from a coffee shop, you're getting closer to 200 milligrams or more. An espresso shot is about 60 milligrams, but if you're ordering a double or triple shot latte, you're consuming 180 milligrams right there. Then there's black tea with around 25 to 50 milligrams, green tea with 25 to 50 milligrams, and chocolate or cola with small amounts that still add up if you're consuming them throughout the day. For people sensitive to caffeine, the cumulative effect of all these sources can be quite significant. There's also the issue of how you're consuming your caffeine. If you're drinking coffee on an empty stomach, the effects are much more pronounced and hit your system much faster. Your stomach lining absorbs the caffeine more quickly, and your blood sugar can spike and then crash, which contributes to anxiety and mood instability. If you've eaten something, especially something with healthy fats and protein, the caffeine is absorbed more slowly, and your body can handle it better. But most people grab their coffee as the very first thing they consume in the morning, making the impact as intense as possible. Caffeine's effect on your nervous system also extends to your physical movements. You might notice that you're more jittery, fidgety, or restless when you consume caffeine. Your hands might shake slightly, or you might find it hard to sit still. This is caffeine directly affecting your neuromuscular system. If you're already experiencing anxiety, this physical manifestation of the caffeine can amplify your anxiety significantly. You start to notice the shakiness, you become aware of your body's response, and then your mind starts spinning, creating more anxiety on top of the caffeine-induced physical symptoms. One thing that surprises a lot of people is that decaffeinated coffee isn't necessarily the solution. While decaf has significantly less caffeine, it still contains some. And more importantly, it still has compounds that can trigger your nervous system. If you're sensitive to caffeine, you might actually be sensitive to the chlorogenic acids in coffee itself, not just the caffeine. These acids can stimulate acid production in your stomach and can affect your nervous system response. So switching to decaf might help, but it might not completely eliminate the problem. Let's discuss what happens when you're trying to cut back on caffeine or quit entirely. Many people experience withdrawal symptoms, and these symptoms can actually feel very similar to the anxiety and hot flashes you're trying to escape. You might experience headaches, fatigue, brain fog, irritability, and increased anxiety for several days. This withdrawal period usually lasts between 3 to 7 days, depending on how much caffeine you were consuming and how sensitive your body is. It's important to know that this is temporary, and it's actually a sign that your body is adjusting and healing. Once you get through the withdrawal period, many people report that their anxiety and hot flashes decrease significantly. So what are your options if you love coffee but you're struggling with these symptoms? The first option is to gradually reduce your caffeine intake rather than quitting cold turkey. Cut back by about a quarter of your normal consumption every few days. This allows your body to adjust more gradually, and you'll experience less severe withdrawal symptoms. You might find that you can reduce your caffeine to a level where it's not triggering your anxiety and hot flashes, even if you're not eliminating it completely. Some people find that switching to a lower caffeine option like green tea or herbal tea gives them that ritual and comfort they love without the intense nervous system stimulation. Timing is also crucial. If you're going to drink caffeine, try to do it earlier in the day. Aim to have your coffee before 10 in the morning, giving your body the maximum amount of time to process and eliminate it before you're trying to sleep. Drinking caffeine after 2 in the afternoon is almost guaranteed to disrupt your sleep, which will then trigger more anxiety and more hot flashes the next day. You could also experiment with adding specific things to your coffee that might mitigate some of the negative effects. Adding a good quality fat like grass-fed butter or coconut oil slows the absorption of caffeine, which means the spike in your system is less intense. Adding a source of protein or eating something substantial with your coffee also helps. Some people find that adding magnesium-rich foods or supplements alongside their caffeine consumption helps, because magnesium helps your nervous system relax. But understand that these are band-aids, not solutions. If caffeine is genuinely triggering your symptoms significantly, reducing or eliminating it is usually the most effective approach. Herbal tea alternatives can be wonderful replacements if you're looking to break the caffeine habit. Chamomile tea is known for its calming properties and can actually help reduce anxiety and improve sleep. Peppermint tea is soothing and can help with digestion and body temperature regulation. Ginger tea has warming properties and can help with circulation. And some people find it helpful for managing hot flashes. Rooibos tea has a warm, coffee-like flavor that many people enjoy, and it's completely caffeine-free. Building a ritual around one of these teas can give you that morning comfort and routine that you're missing from your coffee. It's also worth considering whether other stimulants in your life might be compounding the problem. Are you consuming energy drinks, taking stimulant-based supplements, or using medications that have caffeine or other stimulants in them? Some decongestants, weight loss supplements, and even some vitamins contain stimulants that can work synergistically with caffeine to make your symptoms worse. Check the labels on everything you're consuming, and you might be surprised at how many sources of stimulants are in your daily routine. Let's talk about what you might experience if you do reduce your caffeine intake. In the first few days, you'll likely experience some withdrawal symptoms. Your headache might be worse, and you might feel more tired. But within a week, most people start feeling significantly better. They notice that their anxiety is lower, their sleep is deeper, and many people report that their hot flashes become much more manageable. They also tend to have more stable energy throughout the day instead of the spike and crash that caffeine creates. The initial discomfort of the withdrawal period is usually more than worth it for the improvement in quality of life. One more important piece. If you're taking medications for anxiety, caffeine can actually interfere with their effectiveness. Caffeine can counteract the calming effects of anxiety medications, making you wonder why your medication isn't working, when the real issue is that caffeine is working against it. If you're on any medication for anxiety or related conditions, talk to your doctor about your caffeine intake. You might find that you can reduce your medication once you've reduced your caffeine. Or you might find that your medication works much better once you've eliminated caffeine from your system. Hot flashes and anxiety are incredibly common, but they don't have to be something you just accept and live with. Caffeine isn't the only factor, of course. Your diet, exercise, stress management, sleep, and hormone levels all play a role. But for many people, caffeine is a significant and often overlooked contributor. Even if you don't eliminate coffee entirely, reducing it or shifting your consumption patterns can make a noticeable difference in how you feel every single day. Your morning cup of coffee might feel essential, but feeling calm, comfortable, and in control of your own nervous system is much more valuable than that caffeine buzz. If you've been struggling with hot flashes and anxiety, I'd love to hear about your experience. Have you noticed that your symptoms get worse on days when you drink more coffee? Or have you tried reducing your caffeine and noticed an improvement? Please share your story in the comments below.